Section 2.4. Working with Python in Visual Studio Code. Now that your system is set up, let's get acquainted with the VS Code interface shown in Figure 2.1. You may need to click the Explorer icon in the middle or top left to get this same view. The following regions are identified in Figure 2.1. Activity bar. On the far left is the activity bar where we can open file folders, also known as directories, or install extensions, as you did to install the Python extension in the previous section. Sidebar. The sidebar shows what is presently open in the activity bar. In Figure 2.1, the activity bar shows the Explorer selected, so the sidebar is showing the files in the current folder. Editor pane or panes. These are the primary areas we'll use to create our software. The editor in the editor pane is similar to any other text editor in that you can write, edit, copy, and paste text using the clipboard. The editor is special, however, because it's designed to work well with code. At this point, we'll be writing code in this window, but later in this chapter, you'll primarily work in this window by asking Copilot to generate code, and then you'll test that code.
Figure 2.1, the VS Code interface.
Output and terminal panel. In this area of the interface, you'll see the output of your code or any errors that have occurred in the following tabs: Problems, Output, Debug Console, and Terminal. We'll primarily use the Problems tab, where we can see potential errors in our code, and the Terminal tab, which allows us to interact with Python and see the output of our code. VS Code has many different color schemes, so you can use any color scheme you like as the functionality is the same. Section 2.4.1. Set up your working folder. In the top of the activity bar on the left in VS Code, you'll find Explorer as the top icon. After you click Explorer, you should see a No Folder Open message. Click the button to open a folder, and select a folder on your computer, or make a new one. We like the folder name fun_with_copilot. Once you've opened this folder, your workspace will be the folder you opened, which means you should have your code and any data files, like the one we'll use later in this chapter, in that folder. File not found or file missing errors. If you ever receive an error that says you're missing a file, take heart. These are the kinds of errors that everyone makes. They can be really annoying when writing software. Perhaps you just didn't put the file in your working folder. This happens. But it's an easy fix by copying or moving the file into the correct folder. However, sometimes you'll see the file in the folder, but when you run your code in VS Code, Python can't seem to find it. If this happens to you, it happened to us when writing the book, be sure to have the folder with the code and the desired file open using Explorer in VS Code, as shown in the sidebar in Figure 2.1. Section 2.4.2. Check to see if your setup is working properly. Let's check to see if we've set up everything properly. To do this, we start by creating a new file to hold our program. You do this by going to File, then New File, Figure 2.2, and then selecting Python File, Figure 2.3.
Figure 2.2, how to create a new file in VS Code.
After creating the file, we like to make sure we've saved the file. Go to File, then Save As, and name this file first_program.py. Next, in the text editor, type the following exactly as it appears here.
See this code?
You might already be guessing what will happen when we run this program. It should print Hello World to the screen. Let's run it and see. First, you'll want to save your file by going to File, then Save.
Figure 2.3. Select Python file to create the new file as a Python file.
Warning. Be sure to save your file before you run it. We're embarrassed to admit the amount of time we've spent trying to fix code that was correct but hadn't been saved. To run your program, go to the top right corner of the text editor and click the Run Code icon, as shown earlier in Figure 2.1. After clicking the icon, in the terminal section at the bottom, you should see something like this.
See this code?
The top line starting with greater than is the command for the computer to run your code, and all it says is to run your first program.py using Python. The second line is the output from running the command, and it says, Hello World, which is what we'd hope to see. Congratulations, you've written your first program. We now know that your programming environment is set up correctly. Let's get started with writing just a couple more small pieces of code to get familiar with this workflow, and then we'll move on to the workflow with Copilot.